beginning of my senior year of high school, we were talking a little bit like, what's the next step after high school? Because you got to start applying to colleges if you want to go to college. And I had no idea. I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. And so we talked about my love for construction and for building. Like, I knew I wanted to flip houses. So we decided, me and my dad would go and we'd flip houses together, and that would be our job. So we created TNT Construction. Every day we would go and we'd renovate a house.
All right, my favorite money hack right now actually has to do with kids and money. Mm-hmm. You open a business, you hire your kids, they learn skills about business building, they learn skills about investing, they all these things. They get paid, then they can buy their own clothes and you don't have to buy their clothes, right? They get money, you open up investment accounts for them so they start learning the whole concept of investing at a very young age. Here's the thing, they're going to be millionaires well before I did it.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Get ready for the next iteration of you on your path to becoming wealthy. On this show, you'll get the insider's view on wealth creation, the class none of us got taught in school, with my co-host, daughter, and beginning investor, Sophia Bosch. And now, let's get started.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Becoming Wealthy, the podcast. I'm your host, Sophia Bosch, and I'm here with my co-host,
So Michelle Bosch. I almost said Sophia Bosch, but it's Michelle Bosch. And we are very, very excited today. We have, for the very first time, the first mother and daughter duo here on the show. And their names are Camilla and Tiana Jeffs. Camilla has been an investor for almost 20 years. She is a student of money, a mom of 5 kids. She's the host of Quiet Wealth, the podcast, which is empowering, Gen X women. So ladies in their 40s and 50s, kind of like us, right? That want to build wealth, build businesses, and leave a legacy for their families. And she's also the founder of Steady Stream Investments, which is a passive investor education company. She has right here with us today her beautiful and amazing daughter, Tiana Jeffs. She is the co-founder of TNT Construction, a home remodeling and flipping company. She enjoys getting her hands dirty, I hear, and I read here during construction. And you love just the whole process of taking an ugly home from ugly and turning it into something beautiful, with a beautiful space that a family gets to enjoy and gets to call home. So welcome to you both ladies to the show. So happy to have you here.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here. I was so excited when you started your podcast with your daughter. I was like, oh, me and my daughter want to come on too.
I'm super excited.
Tiana, so Sophia, what did you notice? The first thing that you noticed?
So I was reading your bio and I saw you had goats and kittens, and they're all named after Disney characters, which I love.
So what's the name of the goats, Tiana?
Yeah, so we have a Disney, what we call our mini Disney farm out in our backyard. We live out in the country. And so our goats are named Abu from Aladdin, Remy from Ratatouille, and Bing Bong from Inside Out.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I saw the kittens too, 4 kittens. I'm like, you guys are definitely very, very busy. And it is a farm then, for sure.
Yeah.
So
And the kittens, tell a story about where you found the kittens.
Yes. So I was working at one of my flips and we were out clearing out this pile of wood that's in the backyard. And we moved a piece of wood and we saw something move and we're like, what was that? And so we kept moving, we kept looking, and we found these 3 baby little kittens and they were feisty. But we caught them when we brought them home, and now they're part of our family.
That is amazing. That is amazing. You gave them a home, and that's wonderful. Now, I wanted to get you ladies to tell us about this whole renovating and flipping houses. You guys are doing this together, I'm assuming. When did you start doing this? How did that idea come about?
So when my husband and I first got married, we were trying to figure out this whole housing thing. And we were living in someone's garage apartment at the time. And we were like, when the landlady came around to collect rent And we asked her, she said, how are you doing what you're doing? And she went and she just said, oh, you know what you need to do? You need to buy a house that has a basement apartment in it and then rent that out. And I was like, what? We live in your nasty garage apartment. We can't afford a house. She said, no, actually you can. And that's exactly what we did. So we bought and that was our first taste of real estate. We bought a 6-bedroom home, even had a pool in the backyard, and we paid less living there than we did in the nasty garage apartment. So, and there's a cool term nowadays called house hacking that people use, which is really great. And it's something that I'm teaching all of my kids to do too, as they go off to college. Like, first thing you need to do, you buy a house and you house hack it. You rent out the room so you can live for free, because that's typically one of your biggest expenses.
Yeah.
Well, fast forward, we caught the real estate bug. I started diving into it, and we decided the next one we wanted to try was a live-in flip, which is where you buy a rundown house. You buy it as owner occupant, because then you can get it for less money down, best financing available.
And
but
taxes are also a consideration at the end when it's owner occupied as well.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the strategy is you live there 2 years, you rent it out for 3, and then you can sell it and have no taxes, and you don't pay taxes on it. So that was another.
Sophia knows so in our family, who's the one that doesn't like writing that check out to the IRS, and I'm doing everything possible, to use this amazing vehicle called real estate to, learn and be an informed taxpayer. You can either be a taxpayer that is uninformed, you know what I mean, and pay out of your nose, or be an informed one and pay the minimum while still staying within, the framework of legal everything limits. Being legal. Yeah. Exactly. So that's amazing. So then you house hack your very first house. I'm assuming you flip it, and you do that how many times?
That we would do it every 2 years, like clockwork. We did it every 2 years. And so now, through all that time, we did it for 15 years. Of course, we had all the kids, right? Yeah. So all 5 kids were born within 8 years of each other. And so we just, the kids were doing it with us. We have pictures of her and her twin sister with their arms in the paint and crying because they were all covered in paint, but it was just part of our family culture was fixing houses. And so the kids kind of grew up with us. When they got to be teenagers, when we really got more serious about it and serious about teaching, because before it was just kind of, just do it a little bit here and there. But now it's a lot more intentional, the houses that we get. And then Tiana, I'll let you take over and talk about the Phoenix flip.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was the flip that I remember the most, that I was most involved in. I was 12 when we did this, and we did a full gut rehab. So we were living in this flip. I actually slept on an air mattress in the living room for about 2 to 3 months.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. That is the beginning of becoming wealthy. So there's no shame. And I always say, if you can't have faith in the small, how are you going to have faith in bigger things? So I honor you for that, Tiana. That is amazing. Keep on telling us a story.
Okay. So it was a 2-story house. And we decided to do full gut rehab. So we tore out the kitchen, we took out a couple walls, and we just started working. And
this was during COVID too, right? COVID struck. So we're stuck at home anyway, right? We can't go anywhere. And where we were living in Phoenix at the time, they just complete lockdown. Only I was allowed to go get groceries. And so but Home Depot was open during all of COVID. It never closed, right? So I would go to Home Depot daily. We'd get supplies. And instead of school, we basically did homeschool investing style. And so taught all the kids to sheetrock and tile and do baseboards. And it was funny because a couple of years later, they came home from school one day and they're like, Mom, my friends don't even know what a baseboard is.
What? Sophia might not either.
Oh, is that a baseboard?
Yeah, it is a baseboard.
Okay.
There you go.
So Sophia has been at some renovation projects, not actually doing the work herself, but she has been there basically with us, showing the process, of to potential investors. We syndicate large multifamily. And so sometimes showing investors the before, the during, and the after. Yeah.
And then
But
the model unit,
but
things like
not
that.
doing the hands-on that Tiana has been doing, which is like incredible. Yeah, that's pretty fantastic, Tiana. Like, you are already like, yeah, 1 in a million. So let me just say that. So
Thank you.
Well, and to your point, like Sophia, so there's not one specific way to invest, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to invest by swinging a hammer. And I teach
Yeah.
this often, right? If you like to swing hammers like Tiana does, do it like that. But
Yeah.
her twin sister doesn't like to swing hammers, so she's going to invest in a different way, right?
Yeah.
There's many, many ways to invest. You
Yeah.
just got to find the one that lights you up and makes you excited.
Yeah. For us, we got Sophia started in the summer right now with land flips. She has 5 properties under contract. She's about to sell her first one here in the state of Arizona. She has JV on 4 others with somebody in our community that
Yeah.
knows the Texas market really, really well. Because obviously we don't live there. So I'm
Yeah.
like, why don't you leverage the knowledge and ability of someone else, and they can help you, and it's better to have a percentage
Of something
than
rather
100%
than
of nothing if you struggle and can't make the sale happen over there. So that's what she decided. Her other option was to hire a realtor,
which I'm looking into right now.
yeah, which she's gonna look into right now for her Arizona property. We've been marketing to neighbors and following up with neighbors on the phone. In spite of sounding young, she's been doing it. So I'm excited for her, and yeah, so that's been so far, some of her experience hands-on that she's been doing, and then coming with us, on some of those investor tours. In her basically
Plus, also living in the house, because both of you, like, that's like work carries on also into the house since you both work together. So
Us too.
Yeah,
Us too.
the same there.
There was one moment where my daughter's like, "Mom, I think we're the only family that talks about investing at the dinner table."
yes, literally,
You are too.
literally, actually.
And I'm assuming you guys are not in Phoenix anymore. Otherwise, these two would have needed to connect. Where are you guys now?
We are in Texas right now.
Oh, very nice.
Maybe Tiana can be your partner in tech.
Yeah, maybe Tiana can be your partner in Texas. This is how Sophia, this is
Yeah.
how relationships start, and this is how networking starts, and basically finding another of, because we're not normal in that we have investment discussions at dinner. We find we shine brightly, is what I tell Sophia, and we find the other winners that love the stuff that we love, and here we are. We found another mom and daughter duo that loves exactly this. And okay, so you brought this Phoenix junker basically and brought it from ugly to beautiful. You guys exit out and decide that you move out of state, and that is your next hack is the house that you're in right now or the one prior?
Actually, so the move to Texas was the decision to stop doing live and flip and actually live in a nice house. So we're to the point where we're ready to live in a nice house. And now let's do external flips. We'd done some external flips before this as well.
Okay.
But we said, okay, let's do external flips. But, quick backstory with the Phoenix one. We made a profit over 6 figures with that house.
That is fantastic.
Amazing. And then we used a tax strategy where you can shift income to the kids. So the kids all worked really hard in the property. So we paid them all. And at that point in time, it was $12,000 a year you could shift to each kid. So I have 5 kids. So we shifted $60,000 to the kids, which meant tax-free. Right? And then we told the kids, now, you each get $12,000, but $10,000 is to be set aside for the next investment.
Yeah.
$2,000 is your normal pay that you can now use and go, buy something fun. My son bought a mountain bike. He thought that was really awesome. And so then the other 10,000, we went shopping as a family
Yeah.
for a short-term rental cabin slash vacation home.
Uh-huh.
We bought that home. Each kid put their $10,000 into it. So they're each 10% owners in this
Mm-hmm.
property.
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting cash flow, they're building their net worth. And then every December we go and we have a P&L meeting up at the cabin where we go through the P&L. And it's so funny because the first time I did this with the kids, I was thinking, I don't know how they're going to react to this. They're probably going to think this is boring and roll their eyes at me and be like, Mom, really? Well, I was wrong. They were into it. They
Yeah.
were needling me with questions like, Mom, why is the water bill so high in May? And I was like, Mom didn't pay that much attention. I don't know why. So we had all these really interesting conversations. And then we had the conversation about how can we make this asset even more valuable?
Yeah.
Kids decided we needed something more exciting to be unique and stand apart. And so then over last summer, we went up there and we built a tree house in the
Oh,
backyard.
I love
So we
that.
made it, it's so beautiful.
And you guys can enjoy when you go on vacation too.
Yes. And we enjoy that too. So that was amazing. So that's a way now the kids are passively investing, right? So they don't have to always do all the hard work, even though I think they like it now for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not always, not every day, but they do like it. But then Tiana, so, her senior year in high school, we started having conversations, about what do you want to do? And so tell them about.
Yeah,
So
yes. I'm so excited to hear about this because you know what? Everything that I have accomplished by doing it the non-traditional way. And it sounds to me that what's coming, it's non-traditional and I love it already. So tell us.
okay, so beginning of my senior year of high school, we were talking a little bit like, what do you want to do? What's the next step after high school? Because you got to start applying to colleges if you want to go to college, and you need to start figuring out where you're going to live and all that. And I had no idea. I was like, Mom, I don't know what to do. I don't think I knew that I wasn't the best. Like, I didn't love school. I love to learn new things, but I didn't love to sit in a classroom all day and just like not move my body or anything. And I knew that college would just be more of that. It would be
More of
more
that.
sitting and listening, which I'm not that great at. If you put me down and you're like, hey, listen to this man lecture for 3 hours, that's not me. I will be restless. And so
Yeah.
we decided to talk about other options. And so we talked about my love for construction and for building. And we talked about the different ways we can go about that. So my first thought was I'd become a GC, and that's still on the table now. So become a GC and flip my own houses. That was what I
Sophia,
wanted to do.
which for you means a general contractor. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you did know. Okay.
Yes, so a general contractor. So that's what we kind of went with. And then throughout that year, I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know whether to go to a trade school or to find someone to apprentice under. I wasn't sure. And so we graduate high school. My twin sister, she wanted to be an anesthesiologist. And so she'd gone off to college. She knew what she was going to do. And I was still home. And I was like, Mom, I don't know still. Like, I knew I wanted to flip houses. So we decided, me and my dad would go and we'd flip houses together. And that would be our job. So
Okay.
we created T&T Construction.
Okay.
So Tiana and Travis is what that stands for.
Love it.
And so every day we would go and we'd renovate a house. And we'd work with Mom as well. So it's kind of like a mom, dad, daughter company. And so I learned how to look for a house and find the good ones that will give us revenue and that will give us profit and that are worth it, because there are a lot of houses that won't give you what you want. And so I learned how to do that and look at all the sites, and we found one. And so me and my dad have been working on that house for the past couple months,
Wonderful.
and it's just been great, and I love it.
That's fantastic. Now, did you find it, driving to find it? How did you basically identify the property?
So originally was looking on Redfin. There's
Okay.
like a category you can put
Yeah.
fixer upper. So I was looking on there, but my mom found this one.
Woo.
I don't remember which
I don't remember how
site,
you
but it was
found
online. So we found
Okay, great. Awesome.
Fixer Upper is what we looked for. It actually turned out to be an investor who owned it, who had gotten
Uh-huh.
it over her head.
Yeah.
And it had been on, she'd been trying to renovate this house for over a year.
Yeah.
And she just was at the point of like, I can't do it anymore. Throws her hands up. I'm out. So these are good deals to look
These
forward
are
to,
good
because
deals. Yeah.
they-
There's a lot of
other
basically
workers get just
yeah.
need
They don't know what they're doing. Yeah, absolutely. That's always, it's unfortunate, but there are some people in the market that are not willing to put in the time, the work to learn it. And that's something that Tiana is doing right now, with, under your guys' guidance, which is amazing, so that at some point she is the one that goes out there, finds her own property. I'm assuming together you guys are looking at the numbers and analyzing before making an offer, and Tiana is already at the point where she's able to, okay, this is my maximum offer, before repairs, because I have X amount of repairs that I need to do, and so on and so forth, in order for me to have X amount of profit. It's
Mhm.
I'm assuming you've
So she's learning how to evaluate how much
yeah
repairs need to happen, which is another skill
Yeah.
that you've got to know. If you walk into a house and you're like, okay, well, the roof needs to be redone, foundation, we need a new kitchen, a new
Yeah.
bathroom. Like, what needs to be done, and how much is that going to cost? And so this has been good learning and training for her to go through that process, and then have the budget, right? The project
Mhm.
management budget, and be working on the budget, and you're learning all the ins and the outs. And she's really good with her hands. Like, she did all the tiling in this house. It's 2 weeks away from going on the market. So
wow.
we'll be sure to
Tiana, you did all the tiling. Oh my gosh, yeah, I want a virtual tour. You guys have to send me the link to photos or whatever. I am just like blown away. The more that you guys, talk and tell me, I was like, oh my gosh, it's incredible, isn't it? I know. Maybe we need to get you a little bit with your hands dirty too.
Sophia, you can come for a week and intern with us, and we will do that. That would be
There
fun.
we go.
Okay. I'm down.
I'm down. Good. I like to hear that. Okay, so now I have a question for someone that is hearing. We've talked about a little bit of multifamily. I said the word at least. I talked about land flipping. I can probably have future episodes on that. We don't specialize, even though we do own a portfolio of single family homes, we don't specialize in the fix and flip niche. We do also have an Airbnb, but so that niche is specifically, now that you are teaching Tiana, and if somebody was, going into that niche themselves, what do you think is the most important piece? Because there's a lot of moving pieces, but the most important piece that kind of is like that domino piece that sets everything in motion proper, for it to be a success. What do you think that would be?
I don't know. I think that in this industry, you have to be very ready for the unpredictable, because when you're doing a house flip, anything can happen.
Mhm.
Because it's not a new build, so you don't have control over everything. One of
Yeah.
our flips, we took down some sheetrock and we found termites. And so that took a couple weeks to fix. That extended our timeline that we thought we'd have. And there's always like something new that you don't know is going to happen. So you have to be prepared, and you have to be patient enough to work through that and not like just throw in the towel.
Yeah, absolutely.
The advice I would give too is to know yourself, right?
Mhm.
Know what you like and know what you don't like.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of women can do so great in construction, and there's not enough of them in construction. I mean, we searched high and low for a mentor for her, like a general contractor woman here in the Dallas area, and we're still struggling to find one to be her mentor. But there's so much opportunity for women. If you think about general contractors and the way that, like, they're really good with their hands, but they're maybe not so great at communication or project management or, some of these other bigger high level skills. And so that's, really where we're headed here with Tiana's. We're trying to she's great with her hands, so she will be able to run the subs. And one of my favorite moments from this last flip was the day we had the subs, which is like your electrician and your plumber, come to the house. And we needed them to do their specialty work. And we had sat down the night before and we had created a spreadsheet of exactly what we needed them to do. We'd gone through each room and said, okay, we need the plug right here. We need this happen there with Tiana. And then the subs showed up and I gave her the spreadsheet and I said, okay, you take them around and you teach them and you tell them what you want. And she had that experience. You can tell what
of being the boss and leading them and asking for what you want. It's such a simple concept, but that us as ladies sometimes almost never do, is asking for what we truly want. And that is amazing that you're already, being trained on leading someone and asking for what you want, and knowing also how you want it done so that that they're doing a good job, because that's the next thing is like with GCs is like, are they doing, an excellent job at a high standard or not? And so, yeah, I'm excited to hear.
Yeah. So the night before, Mom was like, okay, you're going to talk to him and you're going to bring him through. And I was like, what? All right. And so the whole day I was like, man, I got to go through this spreadsheet. So I went through it like so many times, make sure I knew where everything was. But then they got there and it was a family. So a dad and 2 sons. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And so we went through, we met them and we talked about everything that needed to be done. And then we went through with them. And the next couple of weeks, me and my dad were working at the house while they were there too. So it was nice to have that other connection. And they taught us new things that we didn't know. And we taught them new things and showed them. And it was just really fun to, and it was interesting and to learn this new skill of talking to contractors.
Subs, yeah,
and his subs, absolutely, absolutely. Just the concept, of a sub, which means somebody that the general contract subcontracts to, certain specialties, like sometimes it's plumbing, sometimes it's electric, they have their own to-go people, basically, that on speed dial, that take care of those things. Yeah, absolutely. Now, what do you think has been your biggest mistake as you started investing that you wish, oh my gosh, I wish I would have taught Tiana this first versus this, or you personally, Camila, things that you would be, that you thought, okay, if I would have done this different, oh wow, now in hindsight, we're all going from failure to freedom anyways, accelerated learning, is those mistakes. But what were some that stand out that we can learn from?
Yeah, well, I think one of my mistakes we spent 15 years DIYing, doing lots of, things ourselves. We did, single family, small multis. And I just got completely burnt out because we literally were doing everything ourselves. I was the landlord. We would we would mow the lawns, we would take the calls, and it was a lot. And with 5 kids. And so I got so burnt out that I actually stopped investing. I stopped investing for a good 5 years. I pivoted. I went back to school. I got my MBA thinking, oh, the corporate world is going to be where I need to be. So joined the corporate world. I had a lot of success there. I mean, I got promotions pretty easily. People were pleased with my work. But then 3 years in, I was looking at it, I'm like, man, this is not going to make me a millionaire. This is not going to get me there. And so it's okay, Camilla, you've got to go back to your roots. You got to go back to investing. But I wanted to do it in a different way. I was tired of the DIY mentality. And so I think what I'm trying to teach her right out of the gate is not to try and do everything yourself, right? There's value in sometimes doing it yourself, but there's the whole time versus money issue, right?
Mhm.
So are you you're going to pay for it in one way or another. You're going to pay for it in money or you're going to pay for it in time. So
Mhm.
which one do you have more of? Which one do you value more? When does it make sense? And I don't think there's like a blanket statement you can put on that.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what we have. So we talk about, okay, do we want to tile ourselves? That will save us a bunch of money.
Mhm.
How long will it take us? Because we're not as skilled as the professional tilers. So we mess up and we have to redo and we've had to do that before. And so that's kind of one of the things that I'm really trying to help her think through better
Yeah.
than I did. Because in
Yeah.
the beginning, for us, it was all just about, oh, that's cost too much. We're just going to do it ourselves, because we were kind of in scarcity mindset. And so I'm trying to really teach abundance mindset, value your time
Yeah.
and pick the parts that you love to do. Turns out she loves tiling, right? But what do you not love? What part of it do you not love?
I don't love painting. Painting white on a wall, it's just so boring to me.
That is amazing. Yeah, I can. And then watching it dry.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then you need to wait for it to dry so you can do another coat.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all love demo day though. Sophia, that's
Oh,
when
yeah.
you should come is during the
Yeah.
demo phase.
Oh
so
yeah, you
can,
gotta
like, knock down some walls.
Yeah. I can do that.
She's ready for that too. Absolutely. That's awesome. Now, you talked about right now seeing that, yes, you were having a high paying job, you were getting promoted and so on and so forth. And I have been stuck in that, train in corporate America as well, many, many years ago. But, and where you come to that moment of realization that, wow, yes, I can pay my bills. Yes, I have a little bit of savings, but I'm not really moving ahead. Like I'm not making some quantum leaps forward in terms of being not just income statement wealthy from my paycheck, but actually balance sheet wealthy in terms of the ability to have assets that I can, collateralize, and in order to, take some equity out and go buy more stuff and so on and so forth. And so what is right now the money hack that you're most excited about and why? Are there any? I'm always excited to hear and learn from other women. Yeah, any money hacks out there? Investing in perhaps in a retirement account, or what have you been doing out there that you're like, oh my gosh, why did I not do this more, or sooner? Also,
All right, my favorite money hack right now is actually has to do with kids and money.
Mhm.
So 529s I don't like. And there's a reason why I don't like them because I feel like they're very restrictive. They're controlled by the government and they you can only use them for very specific things. And so I feel like a lot of parents in my generation were kind of shamed into doing a 529. There was a lot of noise around, oh, you've got to do this for your kids. You've got to pay for college for your kids and all of that. And I just have a different view because I didn't want my kids pigeonholed into having to go to college, right?
Yeah.
And then, if they don't use it all, like, what do we do with the money? Now, I know they're trying to change the laws and all of that, but I like control. I'm sorry, but I do like to control things.
we all do, yes.
And so instead, my favorite money hack right now, and it's one I actually made a mistake and I didn't do before the whole story of the kids investing, right? We transferred the 10,000 to them, which they then invested into our real estate. What we should have done is we should have paid them that 10,000, had them open up a Roth IRA with it, and then self-directed that and put it into the real estate because then it would be even more tax sheltered and be able to grow even better. So that's my favorite money hack right now is, it all works in tandem. It's pretty cool how it works. And if you just have it set up right, it's going to be so smooth. So you open a business, you hire your kids, they learn skills about business building, they learn skills about investing, they all these things. They get paid, then they can buy their own clothes and you don't have to buy their clothes, right? they get money. You open up investment accounts for them, so they start learning the whole concept of investing at a very young age, and then you invest into real estate or things that are going to really grow and help the kids. And here's the thing: they're going to be millionaires well before I did it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm excited for them.
Yeah, the same here. Where Sophia's on a goal, over the next 5 years to have a 7-figure net worth as well, and it's gonna be, and because she's starting like you, Tiana, from scratch. She's having to basically work on her active income to make some money. She has potentially $60,000 worth of profits there, locked in right now under contract, and once we can manifest those and bring them into reality, actually ka-ching in the bank account, then we can start thinking about, okay, can we, invest passively in something else, kind of like, what you have done with your children. But at this point, zero, right? You're starting at zero. Zero.
That's where everybody starts.
Yeah, that's where everyone starts. Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah.
And it's okay to start at zero.
Yeah. Now, Camila, can you tell a little bit to Sophia about, I know that we have been guest speakers at InvestorCon in the past, and I was really moved by your story because you are a person that is a little bit like me in that we can look into a camera, we can go and speak in front of like 500, 600 women, but that is not what is natural to us. And one of the reasons for being on this podcast with Sophia is to help her develop what, Sophia?
On-camera presence and communication skills.
And I know, Camila, that you are not, because the world, let's put it out there, the world belongs to the extroverts, and we have to figure out how to live in a world of extroverts. But I'm not an extrovert. I'm incredibly introverted, actually, and have for the last 20-something years have to basically exercise the muscle, and of going out there and doing it in spite of it not coming naturally to me, and being brave until kind of like your DNA reorganizes and it's kind of become normal, but still my tendency is to, if I need to recharge, it's not out there with people, it's at home.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that journey? And is Tiana a little bit like that as well? And what does it mean in the real estate world, and how can you still succeed?
One time I made a post about this on LinkedIn where I said, hey, as an introvert do you believe introverts can be successful in real estate, or do you think it's only extroverts? Mm-hmm. And I had a whole bunch of people that they said, oh yeah, introverts can. And then I had one man, like a troll, who said, oh no, you're never going to be successful if you're an introvert in real estate. And I was mad. Like, no way, that's not true. And so then I dove into this deep dive, because this is what introverts do, right? We spend time on our own researching a whole bunch of things. And I would research this topic. I'm like, why are introverts actually better investors than extroverts? Or what are the qualities that make introverts very good investors? So one of those is we're good researchers. We love to research. We can spend hours just researching on our own. The second is we're really good listeners. And I think that helps. And so, like you, Michelle, I pivoted into syndication and now do group investing. And one of my favorite things to do is educate investors and then have one-on-one calls with them and listen to them and listen to where they are at, what they need, what they're looking for, understand them. So we're really good listeners. We have deep relationships, and that helps with investing and networking, like we've talked about. But you're right, we have to exercise a muscle that we're not used to exercising. And so it's still to this day, I get super nervous about going to meetups. I know I need to go to them. I know I need to go to meet people. And every time I come away feeling so grateful that I went, but every time the day before, I'm like, oh, is there something? Can I cancel? I just don't want to go.
looking for reasons to cancel. Yeah.
It's a thing. It is a thing that I just have a hard time showing up. So Tiana and I, we found a women in construction meetup here in the Dallas area.
Uh-huh.
And so, I scheduled to go, and she's also an introvert.
I'm very much an introvert.
So we went together, and of course it's easier in numbers, right? Like we women like to travel in packs anyway. So we go, and I just tell her that my strategy at every meetup is I set a goal for myself, and it's the goal of 3. I set a goal. I need to meet 3 people. I need to have at least 3 good conversations while I'm there. And then if I'm still feeling uncomfortable, permission to leave, right? I have accomplished my goal, did it, and now I can leave. So 3 people is all you have to do. And then you follow up with them, have deeper conversations, and then it doesn't get too overwhelming. And then in terms of, practicing your presence, I mean, just before this podcast, Tiana's telling me how nervous she is. We're going to do great. And, pushing her out of her comfort zone to come on this podcast. And last year at the Invest Her conference, the media crew wanted to interview her about being there as an 18-year-old. And that was nerve-wracking too.
Yeah.
But she nailed it. She did so great.
Yes, you can definitely go to the next one. It's coming up. Yeah. I think it's in Austin. It's in Austin, right? Yeah, we will definitely be there. Yeah, absolutely. I would love to. I think you were in class in the one in May this past year, because it was May, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the one prior was
here?
June. It was in Phoenix, actually.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
that's yeah.
Yeah, you know, actually, the ladies,
yeah.
you love Andresa and Liz. I know you know Andresa for sure. So, So that's something that you just hit the nail, right on, because you talked about going to a meetup and having the goal of talking to 3 people, and that is the whole point, I think, on a journey that you set to become wealthy more than just the money and the bank account. And that is that I think you just saw right now from Camila and from Tiana that there's 2 things, in terms of becoming successful at something that I have seen. And I even saw that last week. We were at the Inc. 5000. We made it to the list in our, in one of our companies. Thank you. And what I saw, and that you just so beautifully demonstrated, Camila, is that most people there were exhibiting 2 traits. Number 1, they had ambition. That means that they had big goals and outcomes that they were looking to meet and to achieve. Yeah. So that was one thing. But the next thing that they were really focused, and it was an energy, it was something that was in the energy everywhere in every conversation that I had. And that is that they didn't just have ambition, they have aspiration. Every single one of the CEO and founders there aspire and hope to become something new, someone better, a better leader, a better manager, a better CEO,
They
a
don't
better
just top out.
They don't top out. Exactly. They were in it. They're always looking at, okay, this is, wow, we made the Inc. 5000, or I made it there, and
How can we get higher on the list?
how can we basically continue evolving and reaching the next peak? And that next peak comes from putting yourself deliberately, like you just did, and you just explained, in a situation that is not normal to us introverts, but we put ourselves deliberately there. We are okay with embracing that awkwardness that comes with going into something new and meeting new people. And we're willing to do it for that process of who we're becoming in the process, in that journey. Yeah. And that basically, that aspiration, that aspiring, it's not just sheer ambition that is there, but this genuine desire to be better people, to be better humans, to be better mothers, sisters, and just part of the community and the world at large as well. With that, my last question to both of you would be, how do you define wealth? And And yeah, what stands out for you in terms of what wealth means to you, and something that from a character perspective you think that you still need to develop, in order to feel truly wealthy.
You want to go first?
I can go. So to me, wealth is synonymous with freedom.
Uh-huh.
And so what I'm really looking for in my life is freedom. It's one of the reasons I quit my corporate job, is because I needed more time freedom
Mhm.
to be with my children, because they started becoming teenagers and I realized I have just a very few years with them and I want to be more intentional about those years before they go off. And now, like, I've got two off in the world. They're, one's in Costa Rica doing a study abroad, and one's in Hawaii in her college. And then, I've got this one that we're training into the business, and I only have two left at home. And so I know that it's important these last couple years as teenagers. I know they say when the kids are young, it's really important for the mom to be around. I think it's more important at the teenage years, because like those are very formidable years and where you can have a really strong impact on your kids. So for me, wealth equals freedom, and that's what I'm really looking for. And and the freedom to just do whatever you want on a sunny Wednesday afternoon, right? And and so that's what I'm doing. But it also signifies fulfillment
Yeah.
and personal fulfillment, right? And
Yeah.
so I want to be fulfilled in many ways. And it's not because I want a giant pile of money. That's not the goal.
Mhm.
The goal to me is to be a trailblazer and blaze the trail for other women to come along behind me.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal.
No wonder no wonder I knew that you were my people all along.
I know, we're connected.
Tiana?
For me, I think being wealthy, and you can't really be wealthy without, like, a big part of what I need is I need to have fun. So I need to find a way to have fun while I'm becoming wealthy, because I feel like if you aren't having fun, then what's the point?
It should be an adventure. Yes. It should be an adventure. And it's I think we had a guest where we talked about, creating value. And I think people forget and go out and set financial goals and forget about the value part. And when you forget about the value part, I think that is the part that when you created an impact in someone, gives fulfillment, gives satisfaction, and makes it fun, because it then is more than just the numbers. Yeah, so I think this is what you're talking about, Tiana, and that's such a mature approach to it. Anyone would think that because you're 18 and you talk about having fun, that would sound playful or childish, and is the absolute opposite. You cannot imagine how many people, and I'm sure your mom comes across them when she talks one-on-one with people that are trying to invest in real estate passively to be able to get out of something that they absolutely hate and that they have been going at it for 20, 30 years, and they do not have the bravery to basically to pivot and to shift. And at some point they wake up and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to invest with your mom. So very, very, very blown away by both of you. Thank you so much for being with us. If anyone wanted to get in contact with you, Tiana, follow your flipping, your rehabbing journeys, or with you, Camila, learn about what you do, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, I have an Instagram and a TikTok. It's at come flip with T. Where I post about the flips that we're doing and what we do the day. And then I also on Facebook, and that's just Tiana Jeffs.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you.
You can follow me on Instagram also. Just search for Camilla Jeffs. I'm pretty sure I'm the only Camilla Jeffs in the world. You can find me in all the places, LinkedIn and Instagram. And then also, I do have a podcast called Quiet Wealth.
Oh.
So from the introvert's perspective on building. And so you come join me over there. So, and just keep listening to This podcast is amazing and we're so excited. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you so much for spending, your afternoon, you're just an hour ahead now, late afternoon with us, and sharing your experiences, your definition of what wealth is, and how important fun is, how important is to think about taxes as well in your real estate strategies. How important it is to think about what your genius is, what you're good at, what you enjoy, and leverage other people's time, like you described, going from do it yourself to leveraging others, and being able to, in that way, really multiply your outcomes, your results, and get to places quicker, faster, easier. Yeah, because it should be enjoyable. The process should be enjoyable. So thank you so very much. Sophia, one last thing for anyone watching or listening to us?
Leave a 5-star review and tell us how you enjoyed this episode. And I think
that's perfect.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and share with an important woman in your life or a teenager in your life that needs to hear Tiana's story for sure about what she's doing and the non-traditional path that she's following, and she's well on her way. And I can't wait to see the leaps that she's going to be doing, over the next 3 to 5 years, just doing what she's doing and enjoying it in the process and creating value for others. So thank you to you both.